Hello, I'm counting. So, Jayar Jackson, Brett Erlich, Denise Jones, Rick Strom. How I want to view this and appropriate this conversation is Alex Ovechkin finally won the Stanley Cup last night.
Boo. I don't know, someone had to.
13 years. 13 years he's been in the league. He has won 7 scoring titles. He has over 1,000 goals. And what I heard today was everyone in sports media who has dogged Alex Ovechkin much like they dogged Peyton Manning, much like they dogged LeBron James. Oh, well, you haven't won. You never won. Good player, bordering on great player. What have you won? And they tear apart with that one thing the entire career of a Hall of Fame player, a great player, especially in hockey, where there's 4 lines. That's 12 players, not even counting defense. That's another 6, and then a goalie. What I saw was the antithesis of Skip Bayless and many others, and I'll leave them nameless. But more so how I want to think of this is, do any of you guys feel as I do, that in order for media members to make a living, and not even media, hot take experts and what have you, to make a living, they root for a certain athlete to lose? Like Skip roots for LeBron to lose. So then we could be like, well, Skip's gonna go ham today. Alex Ovechkin finally wins. The past 12 years, he lost, and all we heard was, good player, not Crosby. Can't rival Crosby, never won. I like seeing this in sports. That's why I'm rooting for Russell Westbrook.
Talkers in sports openly say things like, it's not much of a storyline today because this doesn't happen. So they admit, like, we need something to happen so we can talk. Because my livelihood is based off of talking about controversial things. And if there's nothing controversial for me to say, then you guys aren't gonna listen or watch me. I mean, Stephen A, like, it's the way it works. And he's entertaining because he does it a certain way. Like, remember the hoodie conversation we had?
Yep.
NBA players were wearing the hoodies that wrapped around their faces, and he had
for Trayvon Martin.
Yeah, and he was it was part of the warm-ups. Those new warm-ups.
Carmelo.
Carmelo and all those guys were wearing
that's what it started.
And he's like, I just don't, hoods on these men. You got to understand the world we're living in now. I was like, okay, I see you, Stephen A. You had to come up with something to have a problem with. So yeah, no, it's. So who's gonna be interested in the people who've always said that Alex Ovechkin is just a guy? And he's never, what has he done for me? To then next day go, he's shut me up. See you guys tomorrow. You can't do it because you need to have something to talk about. So what you do is just ignore it.
That's true.
Talk about NBA instead.
That's true.
Yeah, and it is easy to. There's a lot of moves you can pull when you're a sports beat writer or commentary person, which is like, okay, what's something that's obvious? Oh, Ovechkin is a great player.
Yep.
What's the opposite of that I could say now? He's not a great player. People will be frustrated with me because I've taken something that they know to be clear and implied that it's false. And they'll be like, wait, what? This guy's green? And then you go, yes. And then what you end up seeing in a lot of the analyses is like, well, because the constituent parts of green, blue include shades of, you're like, so what you're saying is he's a great player. No, he's got all these goals and all these years under his cup, under his belt, but he's not a great player.
Under his cup, that'd be interesting.
His
under his jockstrap.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Which is also under his belt too.
And essentially at the end of that conversation, they have written the headline, he's not Crosby, but they've incidentally, by the end of it, said he's got all these statistics that justify his place in the Hall of Fame.
Right, and it's really just clickbait at the end of the day because you have to take into account the world that we live in. There's so much information from all kinds of angles and there's so many different sources, and now it's getting more and more difficult sometimes to figure out what's the correct source, so you focus on opinionated content. And then you guys are right, just to prove to your points, like you're seeing an X amount of headlines that are saying, oh, he's a great player, he finally came full circle, he won a championship, like he has something under his belt. Great. So there's all these feeds and titles, and then that one that's like, he's terrible, but at the end of the article it says, no, he's still a great player because he won. It's really just like a clickbait.
Is there anybody that you guys are rooting for to win so he shuts up everybody in any respective sport whatsoever?
Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain guys. And then there's guys that don't play anymore. They're like, I wish I would have seen him win because of what now we see them
like
as
Malone
Barkley,
and Peyton.
Marino.
Marino.
He got his Ace Ventura cameo, so
Yeah, it kind of counts then.
pretty good classic film.
Alrighty, let us know your thoughts. Is there anybody in sports that you are personally rooting for because somebody that you hate is rooting against them and rooting for their failure? Let us know.